3, start.
Yeah. Yeah, good evening, friends, and good evening, friends of Bongs of Mumbai. It's a great pleasure that we have with two speakers and two eminent film personalities with us, and on this occasion, on the eve of Satyajit Ray's 100th birthday, the centenary of Satyajit Ray, which actually means a lot for all of us. And without wasting much time, I would like to introduce both the speakers, and they are both, I would say, in my eyes, have done a good body of work. And specifically, I will start with Brahma. So I know Brahma for the last around close to 15 years. And uh, I think the work which Brahma has done, I can tell you that it is exceptional. I think very few filmmakers I have seen who have thought on this lines of making their work speak. I think Brahma has done that, and I will just quickly run through his small intro, which I will not spend much time. Just so basically, Brahma is a multiple national award and international award filmmaker, and he's based out of Mumbai. He is known for his sensitive films on iconic personalities. He has done two films which are very popular now. One is Pancham Unmixed, and also Kagaz Ki Kasti on Jagjit Singh. So apart from that, I think the last film which he made, Burma, the last one which you made on, I think for the children of the slums. I'm forgetting the name.
Yeah, Jhalki.
Yeah, your voice is I'm not able to get your voice. So basically, his body of work speaks a lot, and the power of subject backdrop that touches the lives and makes a huge difference. He is also an author and sort of a mentor. Brahma, I never knew about this facet of yours, that you are a mentor. I'm also looking out for a mentor. I will quickly touch base. Consultant speaker on subjects of cinema, literature, excellence, purpose, and specifically on emotional intelligence. Okay, so Brahma, I think it's a great pleasure that you are part of today's program. So I welcome you. So now I will quickly go to our second speaker. Second speaker is basically he's joining from Chennai. His name is Shiva Nation. Shiva, hi Shiva, good evening. So Shiva, when I asked him while I was speaking on phone, I could understand that he had a lot of questions on the event, basically, and I could make out that he is also looking forward to meet all of us. So Shiva has done a lot of work in the Tamil film fraternity. So I will just quickly go through his small intro. Yeah. So. So just hold on. Yeah. So Shiva, you have to excuse me if the names are wrongly pronounced. Okay. So just hold on. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. Shiva has given me some information which. Okay. Okay. So he is basically based in Chennai, and he is a cinematographer in Tamil movies, and he has done a lot of work with a lot of national award-winning directors and producers based in Chennai. So I am extremely lucky that I could speak to him around 3-4 days back, and he agreed to join us on the platform. Okay, so thank you both of us for joining. I will quickly go to Brahmaji. So Brahmaji, I wanted to understand what does Satyajit Ray actually mean for you as a filmmaker? As a filmmaker, not as a fan as such.
Well, as a filmmaker, I mean, he's an institution, he's a university of which, I mean, when you were introducing us, I was feeling exactly like an ant feels, when it's positioned against a mountain. It's that kind, and I think that the amount of things that you can keep on learning, uh, seeing his films, seeing his storytelling, seeing his cinematography, seeing his lighting, seeing his irreverence to the accepted ways, norms. And I think half of the things that we will talk, about his beginnings came from limitations or, irreverence to the existing ways of filmmaking and working and things like that. I think that was a great thing that already set the trend of for us to see who he actually was. And I think that for us as filmmakers, one word to use is university. You study Ray. You don't watch Ray's films. You study it. And the irony is that he never expected you to study it. He just expected you to, because his theory was that the best kind of filmmaking is where you don't feel anything, where you are not conscious of, look how great a shot is, or how great an editing is, or how great, the narrative structure is, and so on and so forth. So I think he came from a great tradition of artists. He had a song inside him and he sang it out for all of us. And that's all that, in a summary, you could say. And that song is something that gave people happiness, delight, and so much of learning. And he has left us with such body of work that you can go on seeing, and go on learning. And that occurs right from the first film till his last. There's no difference, like, I mean, there might be difference in his style and way and all, but the learning quotient remains the same. For me, his first work is mind-blowing, and that's true for the world, I think. Over to you.
Okay. So I think I completely believe that he was an university by himself. So while going through the many testimonials and also his autobiography, the kind of words which the other directors have used completely talks about what he was. So
Yeah.
so I will quickly move to Shiva. So Shiva, now I think South Indian movies over the years, somewhere I felt had a great reflection of Satyajit Ray. So what's your first opinion on Ray movies, and when did you first watch it? While did you watch it while you are doing your film studies at Noida, when you're doing your cinematography, or it was before? So how did Ray actually attract you?
See, actually, like overall speaking, let me tell you first, like how close I was with the Bengali culture. My first attachment with the Bengali culture was through Rabindranath Tagore's books. Okay,
Okay.
then later, when I started reading the lot of stories, childhood days, there are a lot of books I came across Rabindranath Tagore, which have been translated to English and also in Tamil. And while going through then after that, when I started getting interested in, when I was being attracted towards movies, then I was reading about Satyajit Ray. Then while going through Satyajit Ray literary works, I found out like Tagore as Tagore, Satyajit Ray work has been inspired by a lot of Tagore's literary works. So that is how I was able to connect with Tagore and Satyajit Ray at the first time. And then later, when I went on into the film schools and started reading about all the international filmmakers and top Indian filmmakers, and I was able to understand that Ray is actually the face of Indian filmmaking for face of India in the international filmmaking community. So from there, I started going through about apart from this movies like our Padir Panjali and other things, then I started keep on exploring about race work. And when I started working as an assistant, I have worked closely with the film directors like Mr. Agathian. He has also won a national award for his film. And there is another director, Mr. Chair, and he had also won the national award for his films. When I worked closely with him, they were like totally always had some reference with either with Satyajit Ray or something, some part of Tagore's literary works. So that is the Tamil cinema is always connected within the like. See what the directors what who I saying is like their work is almost like a literature kind of work. Like they were always popular for their soft romance movies and soft emotional movies. So in that way, like I was able to go close to Satyajit Ray about his works. And luckily, my film school also like they had a lot of reference given to Mr. Satyajit Ray. And then from the like when I started exploring more about Satyajit Ray, like even not it was not just alone Mr. Satyajit Ray who had inspired the Tamil filmmakers, and apart from him, like a lot of other technicians and directors from Calcutta has inspired, given a lot of inspiration for Tamil movement. Like even the cinematographers of Satyajit Ray, he had also worked on Tamil movie.
Subrato Mitra.
No, not Subrato Mitra. Another one. He was
Somyo.
Satyendu.
Okay. That's the second part. The second phase of the movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all those things. I mean, like there are a lot of close links between Tamil films and Bengal films, technically, and also in a traditional way. There are a lot of connections.
Okay. So quickly, Brahmaji, what I also wanted to understand that you have made some. While going through your work, I found that there are a lot of emotional thing attached whenever you made movies. So specifically, Jagjit Singh, Kagaj Ki Kasti, I watched. Is there anything anywhere you felt that any specific shot which Ray took in any of his movies, which you felt that the similar thing could have been done, can be done in any of your movies, and you have done it maybe in Jhalki, which actually deals with small children. So any it can be a close-up shot also. Like for example, I'll give an example. Like Charulata has got a lot of close-up shots. Okay, so which actually changed the entire way Indian filmmakers started taking close-up shots. So anything you remember doing in your while you made movies?
Well, a few things that comes to my mind is that, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can very clearly.
So a few things that come to my mind is now, for example, I have used train as a regular metaphor in my film because it was shot in Mirzapur, and the place where we were shooting, there were some 200 trains that would pass by every day. So it was very interesting for us. It was a plan even from before to have a train. And so that way we found the location, which was next to the railway station. It became very difficult for us to shoot because every third minute there would be a train. But the plus point was that we could devise many scenes for two children, the brother and sister, where they would be fascinated by the railway, and they would go and listen to the sound, to ascertain the way the trains came from a distance, which is a little different from what Ray has used for Apu and his sister. But as kids, we would use the 10 paisa coin and go and put it on the railway track and let the train go, and that would flatten, and then we would go. So I've used sequences like these in the film. Then there's one more very interesting, very different kind of a thing where the sister, the
Durga,
9 years old.
Durga.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Durga.
No, no,
Durga.
I'm talking about my film. Where
Oh,
the
okay, yours.
sister, yes, where
Yeah,
the
yeah, okay.
sister has to search for the brother, and the place where she had left him was a bus stop. So she's there, and she has not slept for nights looking for him and things like that. And there's a background song that's going on, and there's just one expression that I have let her stay with, and the camera has just stayed there with her. And we had many shots which we had planned to juxtapose and use it, and that shot was so powerful that I felt that I told our editor that let's just play with this. And I think we just tried to see how long can we stay with that shot, and fortunately we had that shot, which was a very long take, and we have
Okay.
just let that one shot stay for, I think, 1.5 minute or 2 minute, which is very unusual. You never let a shot stay for 1.5 minute. And so, but we have let her stay with that expression, and we have just gone close, and it's worked wonderfully. So I think some of these are attempts I know of any number of filmmakers. I think 50-60% of us, when we are studying or we are at the institute, we try among try to emulate Godard and Kurosawa and Renoir, and Bergman, and somewhere or the other in that same strain, and rightly so, we try and emulate Ray as well. Ray and Khatak, these two are definitely uh, people whose artistic merits, whose sensibility, whose authorship you try and understand and try and somewhere or the other incorporate to whatever extent. Of course, the more you mature, the more you realize that you have to do your own stuff. But there's no harm in getting, in looking up and getting inspired and try and adapt it in some way or the other, if it works. Okay, so I have used a few, but much more than that. Like if I don't use a single thing that Ray has done, still my awe for 50% of his frames remains unparalleled.
True, true,
And
true,
and
true.
and the irony is that he never thought very strongly about a frame. He always said that no, frame is a very dynamic kind of a thing. Like you have panning shots and you have this and so you do have a frame in mind, but you let things evolve there when you shoot. So that was a very, very, very interesting thing. So he never thought very highly, though he would very meticulously, storyboard all his frames and things like that. But that was more for the dynamics of it. I'm sure
Yeah, so
Shiva
sir,
has
yeah,
some
so sir,
observations.
we will take a small 15-second break because I think the link will now get close. So we will get into
Sure, sure,
another yeah, in the next 30 seconds because we started
sure,
slightly late. So
sure.
yeah,
We
next
need to
30
log in
seconds.
again.
Yeah, please log in again. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, with the same link, right?
Yeah, with the same link.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Shiva, I will ask you the same question which I asked Brahma sir. In any of your past work, somewhere have you tried to take any of the shots which you probably have seen in any of Ray's movies? Maybe it can be the use of light, or maybe any close-up shot which he has
Uh,
particularly taken.
yeah, of course. From the movies of Satyajit Ray, what has inspired me a lot is like what we call it as soft bounce lighting.
Okay.
So that is one famous thing. Like almost all the cinematographers must be talking about that, because like see, it's actually like very complicated to achieve it. But once it is achieved, the work will be very easy to go on for many takes, and any kind of angle, everything will be very easy. Um, so it's like something like what to say, even like even now when in the future, like in the last 10 years 15 years and all, even when they started designing flashlights, they kept this idea of bounce light in the mind, and they made changes in this photography. Like previously, when you say the look at the flash cameras of the 10-15 years back, it will like always hitting straight only in the face. But now it has been changed. Like now you can bounce it anywhere. So that's
Okay.
kind of inspirations were initiated only from the movies of Satyajit Ray. That's one
Okay.
interesting thing.
Okay.
And apart from the what I like about Satyajit Ray is like in all these movies he has never compromised on shooting on day experience. Like whenever you see, they will wait for the perfect light. So the light has to change on its own. So if the light is not uh, interesting, or it is not properly, the nature has to help us actually speaking. So like in sometimes and all, we used to wait for those such a kind of light, and all those things are like came into Indian cinema only because of Satyajit says the quality he delivered. And even like in nowadays also, even in this current situation also, like what happens is the directors or the producer will ask us to hurry up. No, this light is looking good. No, but if we agree to what they are saying, it is like a compromise. So most of the time, like what controls the exterior shot is the nature's light. And
Okay.
Satyajit Ray movies and the works done by Subrata Mitra are a great inspiration for how to shoot in available light. But available light also, it has to be modified from the aspect of cinematographer. Like the light may be going to some other direction, it has to be bounced and directed, diverted to some other direction. Those kind of techniques will be done, or some unwanted leakage will be coming from somewhere else. It has to be controlled. But
Okay.
the basic idea, it came from Subrata Mitra and the combo of Satyajit Ray, and that's how it all
Okay.
started.
Okay. So we'll go to some slightly more interesting, which probably will probably interest you as Ray fans now. I'll quickly ask Brahmaji. Brahma sir, just tell me which are the 5 movies which you vividly remember. Few shots of this 5 movies, and also the movies specifically. So you
So
can just name
before,
the 5 movies.
yeah, so before that, what's going on in my mind while he was talking, Siva was talking, that uh, what is there to be learned from Satyajit Ray from his very first film? Okay, a film which I think it's a stunning debut for any filmmaker across history, across history of cinema. Nobody has made a better first film, so to say, more or less. Okay. Uh, why I'm saying so was because, and it's a lesson for all of us, who is even 2% excited and interested about becoming a filmmaker. That so it was something that he had worked on. He had the story in mind. Okay, he wanted to make it into a film. He was a great student of film, was watching films regularly. He had a job, okay, a graphic job, and that of a graphic designer and advertising. And then the 6 months that he went to London on job, he started seeing films. He had already met someone, I think Renoir he had met, and he had told him that this is what I have in mind. And Renoir said, it looks like a great story, go ahead, make it. And in that London, when he saw the film by De Sica, Bicycle Thieves, which everyone knows inspired him, he entered the room a student, and he came out of the show a filmmaker. That's how I feel. I feel that there are these wonderfully defining moments in everyone's life. As they say that when you get thrown on the platform as Mohan Chand Karamchand, and you rise up at the Mahatma Gandhi. So you get thrown on this platform as Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, but the person who rises up in the next 1 minute is not Mohandas Karamchand. He is what would become Mahatma Gandhi. So I think he entered Satyajit Ray, the student, and he came out Satyajit Ray, the master. Okay, because as he says himself in so many interviews and writings, he has said that I was very determined. The moment I came out, the film influenced me so much that I decided I will go ahead and make the film. Now, when he comes out to make the film, there's no money. All of us face this problem. There's no money. Do you have a story? Learn this. You must have a story. You must have a good story. Do you need to know everything about everything? No, you don't need to. That was a time that, so partly influenced by the Disika school of filmmakers, and partly because he had limitations. He would have to shoot in available light. Now, every cinematographer, everyone makes fun of bounce light. Okay, I'm sure even Shiva, if he would have not known about Satyajit Ray's secrets, he would have said no, light should be cut at this angle and that angle, and all of us we do that. They always call it the still photographer's passion, the still photographer's trick. Still photographer, मेरे एक shoot में there was one still photographer who had driven that project. So we would shoot large factories, and an FTI graduate, great photographer, cinematographer, he would try and think of कैसे हम shoot करेंगे इतने. It was a glass factory, you have to cut out lights, ये वो. And this still photographer, and he was a very good still photographer, he had one solution to everything. He would just say, his name was Samir, and this we had done this, and he had said this. So मतलब आओ इधर bounce मारो और shoot करो. So that is, and of course much later the television people discovered that, what was known as flat lighting, but he didn't use it as a flat lighting. He used it as a diffused lighting, the way a cloudy day is, the way a normal day is. So he turned his limitation into art. Okay, he didn't have money. He shot, by the way, he shot many days. Okay, he shot over 60 days for a small film, because वो दिन में 3-4 घंटा 5 घंटा शूट होता था उस समय में, फिर उसके बाद होता ही नहीं था. And he kept on running out of money. Okay, so he would make some money, then shoot again. It was a tiny money. Finally, where did he get the money from? He got the money from PWD. Okay, PWD department of the government, because the name of the film, he convinced them, is Pather Panchali. So there was so road involved tha usme concept mein. So he managed to get money from that. Now that's great thinking. That's great thinking, how to make your first film. And what did he do? Again, Subrata Mitra was not a cinematographer. He was a still photographer. Okay, so he said, no, let's do it. Okay, then again they said, you can't shoot like this, you can't shoot like that. And he said, what rubbish, we'll shoot with amateur actors. All the actors are amateur actors. Okay, so a whole lot of these things combined together to create a flawed masterpiece, as I say it. Okay, there are amazing moments, there are amazing learnings, and it has its flaws, it has its warts, and it should remain like that. I like flawed art, and when it's a flawed art from Satyajit Ray, it's a masterpiece anyway of flawed art. So I think that, something like that. Now then, what happened was, now we continued, and these are my actual favorite films, that the Apu trilogy itself, the second film that he made, again, was something. He had no idea about village life. He was an urban person, right? And yet Bhushan Bandyopadhyay's that story was so powerful that he got an insight. And when he went on recce location for Renwar, that was the time that he I think he started getting a feel, and he was a sharp mind, so he could adopt, he could understand. He had sensitivity. If you have sensitivity, it does not make much difference whether you are a village person or a town person. You'll be able to bring it out anywhere. You just have to change the placement of it. So I think this trilogy, and the third film, of course, he didn't have in mind. That It was at Venice Festival or something, somewhere where it won a Silver Bear award, and his second film, Aparajita. And so someone asked him that, so what are you thinking of a trilogy? And it triggered him, it said that, okay, not a bad idea. Up to up till then, he had not thought it to be a trilogy. And in fact, he made Aparajita didn't do well commercially at all. So he had to make some other film, and he made a lighter film, I think, in between. And then he went on to make this. So I'm saying these three films to me are a great thesis subject, for human emotions, for the tug of war between ambitions and call of emotions, between what the mother goes through, what the son wants to do, and things like that. They are universal. It's happening till date every time a son leaves for city, and what the mother goes through. The mother knows it. The son mostly does not know it. Okay, he realizes it much later, maybe 30 years later, 40 years later. But then by that time, the old woman passes away. And this is something which is very, very universal. But how he deals with it and it's always dealt with a very great understatement. That is another thing. He's not doing a Karan Johar show. He's not building up emotions, and then making people howl. He's not doing that. कुछ इमोशंस दिल के अंदर रहने चाहिए, जिसको लेकर के हम घर जा सकें. In today's OTT world, of course, घर में रह सकें, but in theatrical times, जिसको लेके हम घर जा सकें. So I think he was a master at all that. Then the fourth film that I really love is Charulata. I am yet to come across a greater cinematic essay of loneliness. What an amazing. And the best part is that, and it's a great lesson for a good filmmaker, a good script writer. There are practically no information scenes. It's all pure cinema, pure cinema. And that is not so easy to achieve. And that too at that age, when he's not from a film school, he's not studying cinema and all, he's just expressing it, and he naturally knows so well. It's simple poetry of images. And how well, चाहे वो एक लोटा पानी में फेंक देता है कोई, उसको उठाने का होता है, या वो दो बच्चे ट्रेन देखने के लिए वो कपास के फील्ड में घुस रहे हैं, that cotton field, I'm forgetting its name. I think कपास ही बोलते हैं उसको. तो these kinds of things, I mean, so overall sweep of emotions, the magic in simple poetic images. He never went for anything complicated. He never tried to say, I will prove what a Fadu filmmaker I am. I'm a Fundu filmmaker, man. I'm an Atel. He never went to say any of those things. He just thought from his heart, and that's where the magic lies. You think from your heart, then you corroborate it with your intelligent mind and move on. You don't think too much. हमारे हिंदी फिल्म में, which is an antithesis of Ray, but एक बहुत जबरदस्त लाइन बोला गया है, डायलॉग है कि अगर सोच गहरी हो जाए तो फैसले कमजोर हो जाते हैं. ओके, अमिताभ बच्चन ने शायद बोला हुआ है किसी फिल्म में, सोच गहरी हो जाए तो फैसले कमजोर होते हैं. So a lot of intellectual filmmakers suffer from analysis paralysis. They think too much. The idea is to let people think too much, let people feel too much, and not to think too much. And I think the overall storytelling was so poetic and visual and emotional that it always made a deep impact. Of course, he had his people who would run him down in his time and would say that, oh, he's very slow and art films and ye wo, but that's very little. I mean, the kind of admiration that he has received around the world and from generations is far, larger in number, 1,000 times larger in number than the detractors. So I think that, of course, he had his sense of, um, properness and perfection. It was Ray, like, but he told one line to Aparna Sen, which was his hallmark also. So when Aparna Di was, very young and acting in his film, and she must have been 17, 18, 20, something like that. And so Manikda looked at her and said, whatever her nickname was, that you must become a filmmaker. And Aparnadi was, blushing, and she said, "Ki Manikda ki bolchen, মানে আমাকে তো short breakdown ও করতে আসছে না." And the answer, from what I hear, Manikda told her is that, "Oh, for that you can get a very good assistant. What you need to become a director is a vision, and you have it." And that was the hallmark. He had a vision. He had a vision for everything, which is why I call him one of the great Renaissance characters that Bengal produced, in the same tradition as Tagore. That he could do his own camera, he could compose music, he could write his script, he could draw his frames. I mean, what more do you want? And he started doing all these so that the interference is less. The ability to convince your other is that much less. I mean, apparently he started using, getting behind camera, because every time he would ask Subrato Mitra that, so second shot. So why second shot? And Subrato Mitra would say, "No, let's take second shot." And he wouldn't get that why answer, you know. And mostly, I mean, cameramen don't give you, but they tell you that, something didn't go right, okay, let's do one more. And here he was shooting as 1:3 ratio. You must understand that. All his films, maybe later it increased, but are at a very tight ratio. Sync sound. I mean, Lagan onwards, people started saying, "Oh, sync sound, sync sound." All of Satyajit Ray and all of regional films are sync sound, because they have to do it. There's no money, you know. So I think things like that. So he would have his notions of perfection. And one more thing that I would like to add: the only person who gave him back was another genius, Mangesh Desai. They were great collaborators,
Sound recordist.
sound
Sound
recording.
recordist.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So he was recording something, and Manikda was very particular about. He would take the knobs, and uh, he would adjust the levels and things like that. And then, uh, and so initially, Mangesh Desai wouldn't want him to do that, but he insisted, so he let him do that. He let him do that, और कोने में बैठ गए, मतलब वहीं पे chair पे, and he let him do that, and he said, "Great, does it sound right?" तो उधर से, so during a smoke break or a lunch break or something, someone asked Mangesh Desai that, आपने मानिकदा को इतना कंट्रोल दे दिया सब कुछ, आप तो किसी को देते नहीं है. तो he said, नहीं, वो मानिकदा के साथ थोड़ा मैंने चालाकी किया है, मैंने नीचे से केबल निकाल दिया है, वो घुमाते रहे जो भी घुमाने का. So these are some of the lighter moments, but the kind of my favorite films are Apu trilogy, Charulata, Ghare Baire, Shakha Prashaka. Again, relationship, human relationship, family bonding. My God, I mean, he's God. It's not. It's not. Even when he is not visible, he is present everywhere. That's the definition of God. So
Correct.
he's always present in everyone's sensibility.
Correct. Shiva, the same question to you. Just list
Yeah.
your 5 favorite movies. Any specific short you would like to say to talk about in this 5 movies? You can.
Yeah, actually, my thing is like what I want to mention about is the two. It's a short film, the duration of around 12 minutes, I think. It's a silent
Mm-hmm.
film. What I like about that film is it's a silent film. So it's the movie is like bit of how a rich family child sees a street child through a rich kid's window. And the film ends with showing high value is always there for simple things, which also means money is not everything in life. If you want to be happy, you can be happy. Happiness doesn't mean too much of money. This is also just my point of view in this. a short film. Now, if you look at the short film, you will feel it to be very easy to shoot because the way it has been shot, the shots are like not complicated. Like there is nothing like a technically complicated or nothing fancy or anything like that. It looked very odd, very simple to say. It's easy to shoot, but when you go near to this film as a director, it is always very tough to shoot with the kids, that too as a lead role in a movie. And it is also like consumes a very lot of time. And in the current generation, it is much easy because it's a digital film cinema right now. What's going on, and going for a retake. And like what Mr. Brahma said is like was they had the option of shooting it to 1:3. When we were shooting commercial films, we used to shoot at a ratio of 1:10. But I'm very much sure that that kind of the day Satyajit Ray was shooting and all, that kind of budget was nowhere possible. So his so in within the film, and they were shooting in film. The same thing when I was shooting in film, it's a tough thing. See, when the day is going to end, we have to make sure that we have a at 5 o'clock we have to as an assistant cameraman I have to go and check to the film manager that whether we have enough film for the last 1 hour.
Stock.
And when again, so that is the kind of situation was there when we were shooting in films. So they were and when you are shooting with the kids, this will happen very easily. So very easily, without their knowledge, they will do a lot of mistakes, and you have to very carefully handle those kids, and has to finish a shot within the time that has been planned. Say for mainly thing is the problem is lighting. The one in this film, one part of the scenes happens within interior shots. Like it has been shot completely inside the house. One kid is from the window only, it is seeing the kid that is staying in the street. So one half of the thing is fully within the interior. So over there, even if the kid is making a mistake also, the time can be extended and short even in the night also can be shown in the dark. But when you are shooting in exterior, the problem is like it has to be completed within the, say for example, the lighting continuity is there. It has to be finished within 10 minutes or else the light will change. But here what they would have done is like everything is like so perfectly shot, and there is not even a simple light changing will not be there. And right now in the current trend, we have so much of digital tools with us that like even if there's a change in the light also, it can be matched and shown with some other day lighting. That is possible, but that time at all, it is not such easy when shooting it with film. So whatever has to be done within the time frame, within a budget, within a specific duration, or else these things will be like will go totally, it will screw the budget. So that is the thing. Then we can see clearly the effort Mr. Ray would have put in capturing the right emotions from the rich kid and the poor kid. Without their performance, this concept would have not worked out at all. Ray has always got the right emotions from his actor. That is where his success was. And technically, there is like no compromise. Maybe we may be thinking that he would have a lot of compromises, but at the end result, it looked flawless. It is totally flawless, and it is like it will look as if like he has made no compromise at all. And so that is the thing. And one more thing is like, and again, the same bounce lighting technique is also used in the interior shots. You will not feel from where the light is coming. That is the advantage of this bounce lighting. So because see, bounce lighting is something like during a daytime, when you keep the windows at the home and see, like you'll feel everywhere it is bright. So such a kind of lighting they would have done. And this was also done by his second cinematographer, Saumendra Rai. He was an assistant of Subrata Mitra.
Mm-hmm.
But Subrata Mitra, he was also, but Saumendra Rai, he was also working with Subrata Rai time of Padir Panjali. So that was a kind of relationship they had been maintained. Assistant. But he was also there. Since the time also he was there.
Yeah.
So bounce lighting technique was a technique they first actually implemented in the movie Aparajito in 1956. And since that time, it's like, see, at the time, like when you say you are shooting an interior, they used to have some separate lighting call sheet, they used to call it as. Like they used to hire the studio 2-3 days before, or sometimes even 10 days before. In for the movies like and all, they used to hire it, and then they used to do the lighting because the lights are so big and once fixed they cannot be moved. So in that kind of situation, these people did bounce lighting and all. It's like a very tough job, to my knowledge of handling the film and that the film studio shooting and all. That's one thing. And then other the movies, like what I liked was Charlata. And Charlata, another main reason is like I have read it as a short story. I don't remember the exact name of that story written by Tagore. I read something like a translation. But actually, when I saw the movie, I was not aware that this movie was story was written by Tagore. But later only I came to know that. And the main thing, the interesting thing about this thing is like this film also explores about the British Raj of India, the 19th century. Like even before the independence movement and all started and started to become more. Before actually, the story happens before the arrival of Mahatma Gandhi. So it's like we can see a lot of influence of British and their culture in the movie. The way they are doing the business, the way they are, the way the protagonist is running the printing industry, everything you can see the thing. And one more thing is like what was interesting is the story revolves around Charlata. And the way the lighting has been done for this movie, you will fall in love with the actress. And this is one of the best example, like how one heroine is portrayed in Indian cinema, specifically by a cinematographer point, from the cinematographer point of view. Like the lighting and all, like it will be like in such a gorgeous way. Like even if you will fall in love with an actress with the simple smile they give, and the close-ups are work and all, like it used to be like very gorgeous works. And like the vision of the cinematographer in the close-ups specifically, the close-ups and the lighting and all, like would have done a very great job in this movie specifically. And one more thing is like this movie, although it has been shot complete in black and white, you can feel the richness of the Bengali high class bungalows. Like the way it has been small details, like the patterns in the background, the window shades, the shape of the window, the shape of the lamps, the lamp shades, like the way it has been composed. So it is actually a perfect combination of combo of given by the director, the cinematographer, and also the art director. And another thing about the lighting of this movie is like in the starting of the movie, when the movie starts, of course, it starts in a very happy and everything is going okay in the starting of the movie. So at that time, you will see that the house is like so very bright, and it's like you will not see. It's like the lighting. The lighting is also giving an emotion. It says like how happily and how gloriously living in the starting of the movie. And the movie reaches towards the end of the movie, the way the lighting would have been, like they would have stopped using the bounce light at the end of the movie. From there we can see the contrast in the lights, like say half lighting or shadow, and the shadow also starts playing towards play a big role in the end of the movie. So the lighting plays an important role as a tool. It's a tool, like, and so you can gradually see that towards the end of the movie, it's like there are more darks and contrast lighting we can see in the end of the film. And one more thing is like one thing that worries about the current streaming technologies, whatever is available in the current scenarios, like with the OTT platforms. Like I saw this movie in one OTT platform recently. The original movie was shot in 4:3 ratio. 4:3 ratio, like if I want to say it simply, like our old CRT monitors and CRT TV, they were actually 4:3. It used to be like a squarish. Satyajit Ray Satyajit Ray, almost all his films are shot in 4:3 only. But what we are seeing in this right now in this OTT platform is they are being shown in 16:9 platform, 16:9 ratio. So that is like CinemaScope, or like you can see a wide format.
More
stretched. The problem is like we are losing out a lot of frames. We are losing out the original composition done by the cinematographer and the director. So actually that shouldn't happen. So if someone from the post-production handling someone from the post-production department of this OTT platform is watching this or hearing this, they should have considered they are not, they have no rights actually to crop what the cinematographer has originally done. That's one thing I want to say. Then another one movie I want to say about is Nayak. That is also like the one main thing which I liked about this movie is like the way it is the original script by Ray himself. The full script has been originally written by Ray. It actually like I would say this it's like a very underrated movie on those days. But if you release it now also, like someone is the way it has been shot, it's something like a very interesting and gripping screenplay, I would say. So it will be like more acceptable to any commercial film audience to watch. The story is about a film star who opens up his inner thoughts to an young female journalist. Is a story. And another thing is about is in this also, like the bounce rate plays a very good role. Like it's see, actually I have also shot within a train. Of course, we have shot in original trains, but it's like I would say like the look they have achieved inside this train is like very tricky. It's not so easily to get that kind of look they have given inside that too the bounce light and all for within a train is totally unimaginable. Even if it has been shot, I can understand like most of the shots have been studio, but then also like giving this kind of lighting inside a train is a very tricky thing. And here also like the bounce lighting also gives a very artistic and bright, lovable look to all the actors in this movie. And the movie is like an visual treat. It's like I would say this is a visual treat by Ray. Like even although the movie has been shot on the black and white, you will not feel like it's you will not feel that flat look of what you get in black and white. You can see like there's a kind of very mind-blowing visuals in this black and white itself, which also gives a like what Mr. Brahma was saying. The director's vision comes out very well from the point of view of a cinematographer. So that kind of look has been achieved. That too within a train it's a bit tricky, I would say. And apart from that, like whenever and apart from this, like whenever that the camera comes out of the train, that is from there they go to the flashbacks of the lights of the superstar. That also has been like done with the magical moments, like the way is there is one sequence
the
of
dream scene. That dream scene, the money is coming out of the
dream
money.
scene, the money, the where he's sinking into the money and all, like it was like very like and actually like these are like very interesting. This is a perfect portrayal and also like this also a very perfect portrayal of how a cinema is consumed by various category of audiences. Like because you can see like there are lots of different characters from the various sector of society.
Of life.
So like the way they interact with the film star. So that is how Indian cinema is consumed by a mass media. So someone from a rich audience, he'll be a kid is seeing it in a different way. The kid's father is seeing that film star in a different way. Then there is a simple who is that. So each one has a different view over a film star. The character is the same. The character is the same, but how everyone sees it's shown in a very different way. That's one interesting. And the end is also like very interesting. Like we will be expecting whether all the negative aspect of this film star is going to publish, but they will end up with no. We let it be within the doors. Like that, it is also finished. That's one interesting.
Yeah. So Shiva, we will quickly end here. So I would like to thank both of you, specifically Brahmanandji and also Shiva. So with a very short notice, you joined. I will look forward for your support in the future also. It was a great session altogether. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you, Ayon, and thank you, Shraman, joining with us. Thank you very much.
And all the best. All the best. Thank you very much.